Hi, so it's summer and it's the season where we drink a lot outside. Barbecues, beer gardens, you know, pubs, bus stops, parks, wherever you want to drink. It's kind of, I don't know, we get this urge, don't we? Kind of as a social thing, of course. And I have quite a few boozy fragrances, as it turns out. And that's all this is. Kind of boozy fragrances. Nothing original or exciting, but there might be ones you've not heard of, or ones you've not worn in a while, so let's go. So first up on the list is Kilian. There's a lot of Kilians in this, by the way, because they do boozy well. But Kilian Straight to Heaven Extreme. Now, I've gone for the Extreme because the rum and the vanilla are kind of more amped up, so you get actually, I'd say it's more of a boozy scent than the original. The original is kind of all about the patchouli and the cedar, and it kind of, it's not the easiest one for me to love, but I like this kind of rounded off smooth version. I've basically listed all the notes there, haven't I? Cedar, patchouli, rum, vanilla. I don't think there's much else about it, but it's one of these that's very classy. Actually, there's a bit of vetiver in the base. The thing is, it's, you know, that classic vetiver patchouli kind of smell, which mixes with a kind of edgy, more woody cedar, with the rum kind of thrown over it. But the rum has a kind of richness in this one because of the vanilla and that. It's just a very kind of classy, I'd say like an old worldy one because of the way it all goes together. I think this is kind of, if Kilian Hennessy had like a signature scent, I'd say it was this. Is probably what he smells of. It's kind of classic French, boozy, earthy kind of feel, but much more rounded off, much more of a kind of mature, in a kind of suits or tux kind of boozy one. Anyway, I think we all know this fragrance. That's Straight to Heaven Extreme from Kilian. Next up is one of them mega hyped ones from back in the day that you don't hear about anymore. I think it's alright, it's not my favourite fragrance in the world. And that's Joop Homme, bloody hell, Wild. Sorry, that was a big pause there, wasn't it? Joop Homme Wild, which is, does it have any of the original Joop Homme DNA through it? Not really. No, it's basically, I don't need to go into big vats of detail with this. It's rum, maybe another slightly odd boozy note in there, and coconut, so possibly sandalwood is also in there, and it just smells like this kind of, you know, you can buy generic Malibu. It's kind of a generic Malibu mixed with this kind of coconut stuff. I know Malibu is obviously coconut, but there's extra like coconut in it. Someone's put a bit of coconut essence, has that kind of flavour into it. It's not particularly realistic to coconut, but you know, when you get a cocktail, they're not particularly always that realistic, and it's quite on the sweet side, and it's quite big. I actually find this one as more of a cold weather fragrance because of that. There is a big dense woodiness under it all. I think now obviously we know more as we develop through. I think it's kind of actually a bit of a Kashmiri base. It's a kind of dense peppery woodiness around it, and that tends to be, I'm not supposed to be slagging these off, I'm not slagging it off, but it is just such a big fragrance. It's quite hard to wear, and it's fairly pleasant. So yeah, that's Joop Homme Wild. Next is from Kilian. I think I mentioned this in the last video, so I won't go too much into depth. It's Playing with the Devil, which is it's that tropical punch one. Now there is a big boozy element about this, a kind of generic-y boozy element, you know, like someone's poured some sort of liquors and spirits or whatever into this big fruity punch, which is peach, and I think there's a bit of black currant, which again underlies, it's not the main note, it's more of this kind of peachy darkness. I think there's blood orange, so it all has this kind of crimson sunsetty feel about it. And I do want to drink this fragrance. I want to drink it when it's on me. I want to drink me. It just has this kind of loveliness about it. I like, they give me a really bad stomach, but I quite like them kind of reddy orangey, whatchamacallit, bloody cocktails, that's the word. And it has that, and it's very summery, it's very fresh feeling. The resins in the bottom give it a lot of depth and warmth about it. It's one of them for any season as well, but it just takes you to a happy beach party really. So that's Playing with the Devil from Kilian. Next is Yasmina from Kajal. Kajal. This one is a really unusual one. It's obviously predominantly about jasmine and this beautiful woody darkness in the base and that. And then there's this whiskey kind of feel about it. And it really does smell like whiskey and jasmine, which sounds like a really weird mix, but somehow they mix beautifully together to give this kind of, bloody hell, dark, fruity kind of whiskey kind of feel about it. And the thing is, it goes really, really dark. I can't remember what all the notes are in it. There's a beautiful, the muskiness also in this one is quite powerful and sensual and that, and the woody notes tend to be on that darker edge as well. And there's even the jasmine has this little kind of carnal indolicness about it, and then the jasmine does sweeten up, but it's the way it mixes with the jasmine, it's like a, what would you call it, a floozy, a floral boozy one, and it all works. This is a fragrance, if you like boozy scents and you like jasmine-y scents, I'd recommend you try this just because of how unique and different it is. It's easily my favourite one from Kajal. And it's just really unique. It's got a nice bit of sweetness, like I say, but it's not too sweet. It's floral, but it's boozy, so it's a really interesting, nice fragrance. So that's Yasmina from Kajal. Next is one I haven't mentioned in a while, but it's the kind of one of the best boozy ones out there, one of the most fun ones. And that's Sirens and Sailors, Dr. Claire Smith's Naughty Party as it is. It's basically, imagine all these boozers in a party, like whiskey, rum, brandy, vodka, probably whatever, some cheap sweet wines, and then all this kind of fruitiness in there. And all this comes out of this kind of dark, rich rose, which is slightly on the boozy side. So maybe you had this rose liqueur, and then you've walked into this party where there's all these sweet fruits and fruit punches and fruit drinks and fruit liqueurs mixing with all these boozers there, and the air smells sweet and sticky. There's a bit of a kind of leatheriness about it there, which adds to this kind of fun, cheeky side about it all. It's just really good and it's really fun. I know lots of people kind of jumped on this bandwagon now, but it's a really old fragrance, and it was kind of an homage to Amy Winehouse. So it's kind of got this fun side about it, you know. Back when she was in a pomp, the kind of personality she kind of exuded on us, this carefree, fun, bit naughty kind of feeling, and it's one of these that's just a joy to wear. It's a bit of fun, an enjoyable boozy one. So that's Siren Sailors from Jusbox. Next, may as well get the most obvious boozy one out of the way. We all know it, so I won't go too much into depth. Kilian again, Angel Share. Now I love this one, and I do love it more obviously in the winter, and I don't wear it a lot, and it kind of, it's one of the most ordinary good fragrances, if you like. There's nothing extraordinary, nothing that stands out about it. It's obviously brandy and obviously a lot of woods, and the kind of, there's all sorts of other stuff going on in there. It's got your Kilian kind of muskiness about it. It's got some sweet spices. I don't get a whole lot of cinnamon, but it does have this kind of sweet, festive, what people say, isn't it, kind of touch to it. It's just warm and it's boozy. The opening for me is my favourite bit, where it's kind of proper fruity brandy before it starts to dry out and what have you. But still a really good fragrance. There's obviously vanilla, giving it this kind of fluffy, rich depth. What has kind of ruined this fragrance for me was smelling that new one. Is it the Eau Paradis? Which smells like a really bad, heavy-handed slapdash clone of it. What are them horrible oil clones called that everyone used to peddle back in the day in them weird shaped square bottle things that you had to put in the fridge or something. It smells like one of them. It smells like one of them's had a go at Angel Share and just made it horrible. And what that's done is when I've wore Angel Share after it, I'm kind of smelling all these more synthetic side of it. It's kind of, I'd still like it, I'm not going to rubbish it, but it smelling that really awful cash grab flanker, it's kind of put me a bit off this, which is a shame, but it's still one of the best out there. That's Angel Share from Kilian. Next is a Man in Black from Bvlgari. Again, this is one that was big back in the day, isn't it? It's tuberose and rum. That's the best way to describe this, with a nice leather sophisticated base under it. There's this kind of spice bomby, pink peppery, almost chili like spice in there, which makes it really quite beautiful actually. Well, this is much more elegant and classy than Spice Bomb. And the leather smooths it all off. But yeah, the rum running through it is like, you know, this is like drinks in a cocktail bar, a posh kind of pub or restaurant, and everyone's all dressed up, you know, long black lace cocktail dresses and tuxedos, and people smoking cigars, drinking rum, although it smells like they've poured it all over themselves because it kind of fills the air. And the tuberose is not too obnoxious, it just adds that sweet floral element about it, which adds more of the class about it. It's sort of, you don't really smell a lot of boozy tuberoses with leather, and I think you should really, because it all comes together quite beautifully. And again, obviously the booze is what I'm talking about now, but again, come on people, do some more kind of boozy, lovely leathery tuberoses. It just seems to work quite fantastically, doesn't it? And again, it does have that I wasn't knocking Spice Bomb, by the way, because the original formulation of that was really good, but it just has a lot more about it. It's a lot more interesting. So that's Man in Black from Bvlgari. Next up is a beauty from Amouage, and that's Overture. This is one eventually I will own again. This is brandy, but this is a rich fruity brandy. Absolutely magnificent it is. It's really like drinking one of these really expensive lovely brandies. You feel the slight burn and the fruity kind of syrup go down your throat, and it's got cumin in it in the beginning, which gives it this Amouage touch, that little bit of a kind of, you're in some sort of not overly sweaty, a classy sweaty gentleman's club. And I don't mean a gentleman's club by, you know, naked folks and that's kind of sleaziness. I mean a, you know, a modern gentleman's club open to everyone, but with all the wooden stuff, the leather chairs, and all of that. There's a hint of typical Amouaginess. There's obviously resins in there. There is this kind of smokiness in there. The cumin doesn't really last all the way through. It just gives this beautiful oomph and class and elegance to the brandy note. And like I say, it's a big, full, gorgeous, rich, warming brandy. And the woodiness and the resins and the smokiness all add this class to it. There's also a leathery feel, and I don't know off the top of my head. I know there's saffron in the woman's version, but there might be like a hint of saffron or actual leather giving it a leathery feel. That's Overture from Amouage, one of the best. Next is, of course, it's in this list because it's in every list, and it is boozy. Hang on, it's windy again, isn't it? Of course. Yeah, it's Noir de Noir from Tom Ford, isn't it, Mush? Which is, you know, it is this dark gothic, patchouli, rose, beautiful kind of truffly fragrance, hints of chocolate, that kind of, you know, Dracula vampire-esque kind of thing. But what gives it that mainly to me is there's this red wininess about the rose. I don't think it's a listed note or anything like that, but it does have this boozy feel, which obviously makes you think of a, you know, a chalice or a goblet full of this red wine blood. It's kind of thick and sweet and rich with a slight twang to it. Now again, I know this is the rose, there's no red wine in this, I believe, but it does have that kind of feel about it. And again, it depends when you wear this fragrance. It is one you can wear anytime, anywhere kind of thing. I think if you wear this on an evening in the darkest of kind of autumn, winter, it does have that more of a boozy kind of feel, because I think that sweetness and that redness is more prominent like that. Normally it's kind of the patchouli-esque kind of truffly richness of it that stands out in the kind of more warmer things, but I think that depth and wininess of it really does stick out then. So it's a beautiful fragrance. I spoke forever and ever about it, and so I won't go on. That's Tom Ford's Noir. Finally is from One Way Bridge, and that's Top Shelf. We all know this is one of my favourites, and we all know just how good this is, but recently I heard someone talking about this, and basically they were none too complimentary about it, and I was thinking about this. It got my noggin rolling. If you don't appreciate indie, but very well done, smooth indie, like they could really be, in Harrods or wherever, it's probably not going to be one for you. Some of them are challenging and artistic. I think the person who mentioned this might dabble a bit or whatever, and also think Aventus is the greatest fragrance ever made. He loves things like Parfums de Marly's and Creeds. He probably drives a second-hand Jaguar with holy driving gloves and that kind of thing, and considers himself a bit of a fragrance connoisseur, like we all do. We're people who might dabble a bit in making nonsense, but also just because we wear a lot and sniff a lot doesn't make us any sort of experts, and it's all subjective. They probably think some sort of Parfums de Marly, Leighton is quite avant-garde, or some unwearable fragrance made by Initio is a masterpiece, these sort of things. Or that Oud for Greatness is a Middle Eastern masterpiece, with the greatest oud fragrance. They probably believe there's actual oud in that fragrance. Do you know what I mean? Them kind of people. Anyway, that's off my chest. Top Shelf is basically this big, hairy, rugged kind of guy. He's just come back from work. He's gone into the pub. The pub's a little bit, rife. There's the smell of sweat. Kind of the sheepskin rug is kind of drenched in booze. There's little bits of tobacco. There's a kind of almost beery smell as well, mixing with all the spirits and stuff. It is a magnificent boozy fragrance. Again, I think if someone like Nasamato did this would be raged about. What a masterpiece, what a brilliant one. It's absolutely fantastic. Something a bit different, but it is definitely a boozy fragrance. But it's probably not for the faint of heart, and obviously people realise this. Not everything is for everyone. You don't need to be, kind of rude or whatever, or pretentious because you think you know it all about them. Anyway, that's enough of me kind of unloading about that. Top Shelf from One Way Bridge. I'd recommend you try them from like I say, I big them up all the time. I've sniffed an awful lot of fragrances. I ain't no expert. I also have essential oils at home and called actual fragrancy things. I wouldn't consider myself a perfumer or an expert. None of us would we? So we don't need to be overly rude, do we? So that's Top Shelf from One Way Bridge. So it was just a quick brief one. It won't have gone on too long, this one again. Eventually we'll get to more meaningful, decent fragrance content. That is not now. What about you? What are your favourite boozy fragrances? I think there's something about them, isn't there? Even if we don't drink or whatever, they are a certain definite style, and they come in all sorts of different forms. But again, I like the fruity ones, which kind of overlaps with this. You can tell I'm doing it at the same time. They're reassuring, they're cosy. They remind us of our grandparents or uncles and aunties and stuff. Not that they were all boozy people, but I think a kind of booze and drinking and stuff is something that's dying out, which is a good thing. Booze is very dangerous and unpleasant when it, so it kind of has that kind of coziness, and it saves you having a few glasses of whatever, doesn't it? But anyway, what's your favourite boozy scent? What's your favourite boozing fragrance? I tend to find, maybe it's because I drink it, but brandy is It's kind of not that common, but it's lovely because of the fruitiness, isn't it? That's enough of me waffling on. I also appreciate I got into an old style John rant there. Apologies there. Alright, thanks folks. I just thought I'd whack this in the end of this video. It's because nobody really wants to watch it and I'm not preaching or anything, but yeah, alcoholism is a bloody, alright, I'm going to drop the F-bomb, an effing awful disease, and it can hit any of us. It can completely take over your life, and that's a fragrance video, but it is kind of, I feel I need to mention, it's affected people in my life and people I love very much, and to watch you see them disappear, it doesn't start off, nobody wants to be an alcoholic, do they? None of these addictions start off like that, and I don't care people look down and sneer and stuff. They depend on it, they escape, whatever the reason is, just it's something social and casual that just becomes the norm, and then you get trapped in it, and then you can't get out of it. I personally haven't been there. I don't really have an addictive personality to a point, to be fair, but a lot of people can't see it coming, or whatever the kind of burying with it and stuff, and it's awful, and society judges and looks down upon it. But these are people we should be helping, and I don't know, you know, maybe some of us have suffered with it and stuff, some of us have got out of it. The help out there is not great. It's kind of sneered at, isn't it? Oh, why are we spending money on these, you know, and all this. It's horrible, and it's awful when you're close to these people as well. It completely takes over them, it becomes their life, and even when they want to do something, and do you know what I mean, they want to get out of it, they can't. And I didn't know this again till recently. It's easy to say stop drinking, no one's that stupid or foolish that it's that easy, but even if they did, it could kill them, because the body is so dependent on it, and that's like that with a lot of drugs and stuff, isn't it? I don't know why I've put this on the end of it, but just to say, you have my love, and I can't support people because, you know, I'm not a professional person, but hope nobody is stuck in it, and that. Yeah, sorry for putting something so deep on it. And if you feel yourself getting to that point, get help. Don't let it take over your life. It can destroy your life, it can kill you, and the people around you as well. It ain't easy for them. Yeah, anyway, that's all. A bit of a serious point.